To be continued. Sorry about that. The phone is apparently got just so much space. Anyway, so let's get to the word. It says, a certain man had two sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falls to me. So he divided this. We know the whole story, what happened here. So he took his portion and he goes and he just squandered it all. And then in verse 17, it says, 17, but when he came to himself, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have bread enough to spare, and I perish with hunger? Okay. What I want to say is we all move away from ourselves. We are created in God's image. God have an image about us, how he wants us to live. And I think maybe you think it's not fun to serve God. Maybe it's not nice, you can't enjoy your life. In later videos, I will prove to you that God actually wants you to have way more than what you can perceive in your own imagination for yourself. With these videos, I'm going to prove it. So when they do come out and on the market, I'm going to prove it. That's how I know it. I know my future right now. Right now, how my future is going to look, because through God's grace, I can create it. In the peacetime and following His word, I can create my future of tomorrow. So that's why these videos are here. So anyway, so we know that in the Bible that the second son always have the blessing on him. We don't know why it is. It manifests in the flesh, but in the natural heaven realms, it's like that the second son have the blessing. Adam was the first son. The second or last Adam was Jesus, the created son. He had the blessing. So God sends the image first, the first son. Are you with me? The second son that gets raised, me, that is in the flesh, is the second son. God sent that son, the oldest brother, so that the second son can come to affirm life in abundance, who God is. So we can reveal who God is. You know a kingdom, how a king treats his sons or his people in his town. So don't think about your town or my town. That's not the real way. So this son went out. So this is my interpretation and revelation towards this lost son. It have a lot of other ways to interpret it. This is just mine for the moment. So this son was present with his second son, his soul body. And the soul body said to their father up in heaven, we want our stuff that's on the earth. We want our life that's on this earth. We want to go out and we want to go live our life. And the father said yes, because he gave us free will. In brackets. Go. So we go out like I did, squandered all my life around, did whatever I had to do, want to do, how I want to do it. Accidents, heart attacks, car wrecks, loss of everything, theft, armed robberies, everything. And I realized, but when he came to himself, and I came to myself, and I realized, at my father's house, his servants have bread. So, if you read further along, he said that the father was awaiting him. The father was awaiting him in a distance. So some might say the father stood there every day and I hope he come back. I know that I spoke to you on the other videos early on and said there's a global, universal consciousness, and that is God. God is in everything, everywhere, every place. And as that son realized it's time to go home, just like your mom had the feeling like this, or your dad had a feeling, or women normally stronger in these kind of feelings, their six senses. Either father had the feeling his son is coming back. He knew he's coming back. So he was waiting for him. He came, he ran to his son. The son still came, the world son, the second son that had the blessing, came back with all his thoughts. I did this and I did this and I did this. The father did not care about what he did. The father did not know what he did. Same as in today's life. The father don't even know what you did. He just knows that you are at the moment dead to him. The moment you return to the Spirit and what he says about you, you are alive to him when you come to yourself. So here comes the son, the second son, comes back and said, "Oh, Father, I want to be back at your house," and all this kind of things. And the son actually came back to himself. He came to himself. He came to be himself. And God said, put a ring, the father said, put a ring on his finger, put a new garment on. All that have meanings in the spiritual life. I'm not interested in that now. What I want to say is, like Jacob was the second son, he actually wanted to climb out before his brother. He held his brother's legs. He wanted this blessing since he was young. But the blessing was in manifestation towards him, the second son. He went away from his town. He stole his brother's firstborn right, but he went away. The firstborn right, he wanted to be what he actually was. Does it come clearer to you now? He actually wanted to be what he actually once was. But he wanted to go away and get it by the natural. So when he did came back, God called him Israel after that, a second name, a spiritual name. And the day he was on his bed, Jacob was still lying down, but he rose up to bless his children. And then Israel spoke. The second son spoke, who he was in God. So this is the message what I want to give you today is God wants us to be aware of him. Every moment, every time of the day. And if you and I could come to that mindset, everything will be okay.